district story. Uh, Also, there will be a direct to use strategy in the middle of it. So there can be some strategies that you can take back to your school district right away. And my personal job is to keep it practical and make the conversation going. So you can feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat, and we'll try to answer them in the end. So welcome, Shannon, to AI Town Hall. How are you doing?
As I was mentioning right at the before we started, we had a pipe burst at our high school yesterday, and so we called an e-learning day for our high school only, and had our other buildings in session. And so I've been doing all of those mitigation strategies that many of us as superintendents know happen from time to time. And so I was just checking on my buildings a few minutes ago. And we are up and teaching and learning is happening. And we will keep going through that and, work through the logistical part of what it is so that kids can be here and teach and learning is happening. So just happy to sit down and kind of catch my breath for a second.
No, absolutely. And I'm so glad you could do this. And I know how much time it takes to prepare all this and bring it people all together. But I'm glad people and their note takers are joining today's call. So before we get into this entire fiasco of artificial intelligence and how you're navigating it, I'm launching a quick poll in the chat. You guys can see it on your screen. And it's a very simple question to start with, that where is your district today, district or your school or your organization, in terms of AI implementation. Either some teachers are using it, but there's no district policy overall. You have done some training, but it's still not enough. Let me see. Yes, and we have done training, and educators are using it smartly. We have done AIPD, and we're now working on student AI literacy. Or there can be point E, that we're not interested in AI right now. So no judgment, and but this can be a good way to know where we are right now. Also, in the beginning of the session, we'll do a breakout room as well, because we know we can talk among each other in a group of 3 and 4. Because this session has to be interactive, because AI itself is evolving. So whatever is coming from me and Shannon is not the ultimate truth. So because whatever we're saying, it's evolving very quickly. So that's one of the focus. We'll give 1 more minute for people to fill this quick poll. Okay. Okay, I see a lot of people, they have done some amount of training, but it's still not widely adopted yet. That's definitely number 1. And some teachers are using it, but there's no district stance. That's the second most. I think it's kind of where we expected as well. Okay. So I'm just ended it, and I shall also share the results so people can see it. Okay. So perfect. So wherever we are, you will hear the full journey from AIs everywhere to we actually have a plan of action for your school district. And Shannon, what's your feeling like? What do you want people to achieve from today's talk?
Well, the whole point that I really wanted to have this conversation was just like any other time with teaching and learning, to share what it is that we're doing and maybe hear some ideas with some things that maybe some other folks are doing that maybe we could walk away with. I can share, we're in the middle of our process. Was just in a virtual IT AI conference last week, and saw that the gentleman presented a 3-year timeline with his own implementation, a suburban Illinois district. And so I was doing what many of us would do. I was trying to gauge, where do I fit in there in regard to our district's implementation. And I was right in the middle. So if this conversation can help bring folks forward a little bit, or the conversation, then I'm all for that, just for the betterment of all of us.
Perfect. And I would love to dig in more about it. But before, I really want to understand uh, how did the shift came? Like you were hearing about AI everywhere, but how does it became a real district priority for you? What was the story behind that?
Right. So we're always, as district leaders, we're always paying attention to what's happening around us. And in October of 2024, Education Secretary Cardona came out with an AI toolkit. Um, some of you have perhaps seen that. And that was one of the first big um, types of moments where I thought, okay, this is, so we're going to maybe see something coming. So I need to really up my game, build my own capacity. So I started doing that and paying attention a lot more because AI in general has moved to the front of the conversation just in society in general. And then came the pending Illinois law. And I know that we have district leaders from, all over the United States here today. And perhaps you may have your own state um, laws that have now come into place regarding guidelines and all of those things. And that happened in Illinois this past year. There was a pending law. It was a House bill, and it became a public act. And so now in Illinois, it was a Public Act 1040399, which says that there will be guidelines from our state agency in place by this June. Okay, that was another big kind of watershed moment where I thought, okay, I need to get going here. And that bill was pending last spring. And so I took it upon myself I need to see where's our staff at. I know where I am personally, but where's the staff? And so we surveyed our staff. That was in May of last year, just to kind of get the temperature as far as our knowledge among our staff. And what we found was that there, as you would expect, there were some early adopters, but by and large, we had teachers that were familiar with it, but maybe it had not become ingrained in their classroom practice. And so that was important, taking that survey, because it led me to where I was going to need to go, which first of all was I've got to up our staff capacity. One of the questions that we embedded into the survey, so there was some thought into this as well, is would you be interested in being a part of an AI cohort group? So I knew that I needed to create a pilot group. I needed to create a working group that was going to help us in doing this work. And the results of that were pretty much as you would expect. About 50 to 60% said that yes or maybe they would be interested in being a part of that. And so we disseminated that data, looked at who those folks were, looked at what the results were of that survey, which provided us some insight to where we were going to need to go next, which was the formation of this cohort group and the designing of AI policy, which that law was still pending. What was it that we were going to be asking our teachers and kids to do? So those were that was my driving point in all of it. And that transpired over the summer. And so we started then making a determination that we were going to need some help to be able to get our staff capacity to where we needed it to be. I surely don't have all of that knowledge. And I would bet that as district leaders, we have a lot of knowledge in a lot of areas, but you are not tech directors. And so that would be a good place. If I could make a suggestion, would be to think about who is going to coach them up if you can't do it. And so we started looking at who was good at doing that. And that's
Hmm.
ultimately what led us to Toma Club and to you, Avinash.
Thank you for that. But also, I remember a lot of people out there, they have this first reaction to create an internal task force, you know, to put together most excited teachers and core team members to actually become a trainers for the other teachers. So we'll come to that because going out and looking for an external vendor is not the go-to choice for most schools, and rightly so. So we'll talk about that. But before that, I want to have a quick breakout room with everyone. And in the breakout room, I want to know what's your current AI stance or what's your current AI strategy that you're considering. It can be about your concerns, about your um, focus areas, because that document is going to be an open Google Doc. So everyone can contribute to that and by putting their name. But the good thing is that we'll learn from peer. So whatever Shannon was feeling about his district, what's your district take? So I think that might be a good exercise for us to know where we are. So I'm just putting the link in the chat. Um, it's an open doc, so everyone can feel free to type. And I'm just creating breakout rooms. I have to assign manually because there are a lot of chatbots in the session. So give me a second. I'm gonna assign automatically. Okay, wait a second. Okay, got it.
Hi, Shannon. This is Daniel. I'm the CEO of Teach Ally. I'm here to learn with you guys. So I'm a
Oh, okay.
provider. Yeah, yeah. We work with a few districts on using AI to build out HQIM.
Sure.
So here to learn.
Oh, very good. Very good. Um,
Show you
yeah,
that.
I mean, we're like I was saying, we're in the middle of our journey. Um, yep. And still a lot of stuff needs to be done. Um, and we're looking to really start training our full staff this spring. So that work is not finished yet. Um, and so we'll continue. And then the kids in August. Now
Right.
this is barring, I mean, you know how fluid this situation is. Like it may change quite a bit between now and then, but the point that I was trying to make, and I had one of my superintendent friends says, "Oh, this is a sales pitch." I was like, "Dude, no, it's not. Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to share and tell you what we're doing, and add to the conversation." So I'll catch up with him later, but share our journey that we're on. I was in a virtual conference last week, and there's a guy from Lincolnshire, Illinois, and
Yep.
he's much further than we are. But I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll hook up with that guy and see what it is that they're doing. And he shared some stuff, like I was going to be able to do. Now, my one guy, I'm gonna have to say, well, what are you guys doing? He's a bigger district right next to us. So that's all I was trying. The whole purpose of today. Um, and then Toma Club, these guys. If you need somebody to help build up your staff. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that, but these guys are one organization that can. So that's kind of the whole purpose today. And then, these other states, I was anxious to have some collaboration. Like, what's going on. Are other states getting these same, statutes in place that now they have guidelines they're going to have to,
Right.
you know, put up? And so really that's kind of where I'm at today.
Well, Shannon,
What's
I
uh,
can tell from my experience in working with districts, it's really all over the place. It's kind of a grab bag. Um,
it is.
and it's interesting because I think what's gonna happen is the results of some of the Brookings Institution finding with, AI helping,
I just saw that last week. Yeah,
totally. And so from our perspective, like we're teacher facing 100%, like we're actually like all we do is teacher supports. So so there's going to be another conversation layered on top saying, what about these chatbots and tools that we're using? Are they actually helping outcomes or they're hindering outcomes? And
right.
so my perspective has always been talking to leaders about, well, what are you using that's actually going to solve your problem? Right. So it's like,
And what's your problem? That like they district leaders got to know that first.
yeah, exactly. Like if you don't know what your problem is, like what are you doing laying around AI? It's just another toy to put on your, your what do you call it? The what's that? You remember the island of broken toys, whatever that
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah,
Christmas.
Rudolph.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's kind of how I feel about AI too. It's like, districts just kind of piled on these tools early on, and then they're like, okay, well, what are we using them for? How are we using them? What exactly what you said? What problem are we trying to solve? And the problem solving component is the part that I'm struggling to like get out of, districts because some of them don't know. I was in a training and they've been, he's the top superintendent of the year, and some of their teachers don't even know how to log into the tool, and some of them are using
Right.
it all the time,
Right.
but they're like, hey, we don't know how to do it, so we went back to Chat GPT and searching for images. I'm like, that's not HQIM, your district, and they're like, it's not
Yeah.
what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So part of it
And
is
that's where we are. So in our district now we're starting to, and I said it at our last meeting. Like I asked the big question.
right,
And I wanted to see the response was that this can help you change your way of thinking about teaching and learning if you are thinking the right way.
so
So when we talk about, using different types of tools and stuff, and how your lesson planning maybe is going to be now in need of revision.
right,
You might be antiquated now. If kids are bringing AI tools into your room and they are answering all of your questions, and then your lessons need to change.
right,
And that's a harder swallow for a lot of them because they're like, I got to do 180 new lessons. Well, yeah, your philosophy needs to change in
right,
regard to teaching and learning. So we're talking about something transformational if we're doing it the right way, and it can really add or enhance what it is that you're doing in regard to what you want your kids to learn.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I mean,
And
yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. That's the question. It's like we're working in a different paradigm. Are you ready for it? What are you doing for it? Like how are you actually
right,
preparing yourself to work
right.
with paradigm? So yeah,
And so I think that one of the first steps is so that needs to be discussed. And so we're having those hard conversations now. And so we just started. I just kind of teased them with that, and then I'll come back and revisit it. Say, okay, so when I talked to you about that before, what do you think you would have to do?
right.
And so we'll just continue the dialogue, which I think is all helpful
It's
down
absolutely
down the road, right?
yeah. So that's right. And I think the key is not look at AI. I talk about AI as infrastructure, not a tool. So AI is infrastructure.
Right,
So it powers a lot of stuff, but it's got to power the stuff that helps you solve the stuff in your classroom, not the stuff that like the magical thinking of, oh, well, we'll just pull in some other things to do that. Like, how does it actually solve problems for you? And if
right,
whatever you're trying to do doesn't actually solve your problem, it's useless. You don't, you throw it away. It's not a useful tool for you at that point. So like
right.
100%, 100%. Yeah. By the way, I work with I know Dan Stecken really well. I know Dan Cox as well. So I know those guys and they're
Yep.
they're right in that kind of way of thinking as well. Like, okay, how do we problem solve instead of using AI just as another like thing that we want to put into our class.
Right.
Totally.
And so I think anytime that we're talking about the more and more that as educators we're talking about this, I think then we start to we learn more collectively about the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
But without doing that, which is kind of the purpose of today,
Yeah.
then I think people getting siloed and people getting on their own islands and stagnation. And so all of those things that can, happen when we're not talking or seeking out answers to these things.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I found is that teachers now are behaving, first of all, because there's not so many teachers that are actually have experience. So a lot of them are actually just doing triage. Every day is another crisis. They're like ER nurses. They're not really teachers.
Right.
They don't know how to do.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, perfect. So welcome back, everyone. I hope you got some time. Sorry for cutting you off like that, but hopefully you guys had some time to read your stance as well as to get to know what others are up to. Anything interesting you saw, Shannon, in the doc? You're mute, Shannon.
Thank you. Obviously, there's some things that jump out right away, but I'm anxious to hear from the group. So one of the whole purposes of and why I want to be here today is like I really love collaborating with district leaders, and so before I speak, I would defer and see what are some things that some other folks see that are jumping out.
Perfect. Anybody would like to share what is their current AI stance and what's going on in their district?
Well, Avinash, I'll share. We're pretty far along with this, just in general. We've been running our own AI server here for 14 or 15 months. So that's to take care of that privacy issue that we all have. We've done training with all teachers in the district. Our teachers are really using it, and again, if our administrators and teachers aren't using it, our kids aren't going to be very good at it. So we've really taken that approach and being very small. And some people ask if I have a huge team. Really, it's me. That's doing most of the training across the district. And this is just a hobby of mine. Like this wasn't, I'm not trained for this. This is just a hobby. So anyway, we got it in the teachers' hands. We teach them to use multiple models. We also, once I have a group that comes to me every month that we do hands-on training, and then what we'll do is move from the public servers to our own private server. So, and once they go through that training, they have access while they're on campus with that. And the one thing that I will add that I think is really important, we have zero AI policies here, none. And that's for a reason. We develop policies when we need them. We don't do it just as a knee-jerk reaction. So in the event that we do need something, we will put that in, but that is not our priority up front.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, for sharing that, Chris. That's exactly is you need to know where your teachers are. And I think the survey that Shannon mentioned is a great way to know what is your teachers are, so they can meet where they are. And I think I would love to know, Shannon, after you did some training, if you can share something about the training, how did it go, and also more interested in the impact, what changed?
Well, what we discovered was that there was some reluctance. First of all, they know that this is an issue that is fairly big. And so they came in cautious. And really, we had to create an area where they felt that they could be vulnerable to learning this new material because it could be very, very important. It could be transformational to teaching and learning. And so what we discovered was that Chelsea Dean, who did the professional development with us, really helped move us along, which was my intent when we decided to partner with you, was to build that teacher capacity. And we had, so I think it was 4 sessions, Avinash. And so we're in Illinois, we're a little more, well, at least in my district, we're a little more limited. That professional development time is special. It's sacred because we have so many mandated things that we have to try to put into these small pockets of time. And we had to make a priority to dedicate ourselves to this work. And so Chelsea helped move us to a place where we felt much more comfortable by the end of our professional development with you guys in regard to where our staff was. And so we were able to collectively move our conversation along to kind of continue us on our journey. And so it was really important that we did that. And so I really love that Chris pointed out that, you said that's a hobby of yours. So I'm guessing you're probably pretty skilled and in regard to implementing AI. I am not at a place where I feel comfortable. Now I can deliver a lot of other things, but in regard to this AI, I really wanted somebody that was a little more well-versed than me. And then I kind of would take it from there. Once we built our staff up, then, we've got other initiatives and objectives in regard to AI that we want to accomplish. But this part specifically, I wanted to get some outside help. So, and it was very helpful.
No, absolutely. I think while talking to you, one thing that really resonated with the rest of your team was that at any point of time, there was no tool that we promote. And I think that's super important, that you have to go tool agnostic and you have to keep on exploring different AI tools because you cannot stick yourself to one. It might be counterproductive to do that right now. And also, when we were talking about different form of training that teachers have to undergo throughout the year, I tell to districts that AI training can be mother of all trainings in that way, because once you develop that, or once you develop a relationship with AI, all other duties, you will have a co-assistant with you. So you will definitely have a much broader outlook at problem statements, whether it is school safety, school climate, math training, IT training, a new tool training. I think once you have done basic level of AI understanding, your level of questioning, that just improves. So I love that. But I would still want to know on-ground reality, like what actually changed? Have you seen some difference of student teachers using it, or any kind of change in behavior at teachers' end?
Well, there was some use that was occurring, but like with a lot of things that come into fruition, technologically speaking, you get early adopters that start playing with things. And what we saw was after we had finished that kind of grew much larger. So the whole cohort group then started growing collectively. And so that group think started to happen. And I think that was a really positive thing. And it helped kind of galvanize us, our group, for what it is that's coming up next. So a lot of good opportunities, teachers teaching their peers, really positive in that regard. And then, but getting back, I got to get back to what Chris said, because I'm really just like intrigued by that. So no policies. Chris, what state are you in?
I'm in Mississippi.
Mississippi. So then the way it would work with you is anything that's just statutorily in place, you would obviously have to comply with. But the freedom I would think that you give your staff is really, I think that's fantastic. One of the things that we have heard in Illinois is if whatever you're putting in place, it's got to be very flexible because it's changing so quickly and very malleable. And so I think for you, that's great. I mean, you can move as it moves. and you're not bound. So I think that freedom is really cool. So I kind of a little bit jealous of that.
Yeah, our legislature's been really good. They have taken our feedback. I've been on a couple of discussions with them at the Capitol. They have a task force as well. So, and that is the one thing I tell them all the time. Please do not limit this, because you could limit somebody doing something really, really special inadvertently. Like there's some states that have jumped in and said you're only going to be able to use Claude, for example. Well,
Right.
what about the other models that are out there? You might have missed something completely life-changing with somebody that does something special. So they've been great.
Really
No,
cool philosophy.
I think I agree with. I've been talking to Chris, and I think it makes so much sense to have a broader mindset with AI rather than narrowing it down. And sometimes compliances actually makes you narrow it down than required. But also, I think one of the key element when we talk about AI readiness is also the parents as a big stakeholders. So tell us more about how's that turning out. What was parent concerns or parent queries coming to you guys, and did the training help you guys prepare for that?
Yeah, I would say we're not fully to that point yet. So we're, like I said, we're kind of still in the middle ground. So we have a plan, though, for how we're going to uh, talk about this with all of our stakeholder groups. And so I think I'm going to take this approach. And there are a lot of folks in here that have done this. We superintendents know how to implement all the time. That's one of the things that we do. And so I think I'm going to slow roll this approach and kind of build capacity among our parent stakeholders, much the same way that we're doing it with our teachers and also with our kids. Instead of just overwhelming everyone, we're just going to provide opportunities through communications, focus groups, et cetera, where we can engage them and try to, at the same time, build trust in that they're going to see what it is that we're doing. They're going to be along on the ride with us, and then grow together. So obviously, would give them a chance to state their concerns. We probably know what a lot of them are, but still allowing them that input to be able to not only share what their concerns are, but watch us grow this as we are in the next year, I would hope, and be a part of it with us.
That sounds amazing. And I think more importantly, if you start having those conversations early, it's always better, because there are concerns around student using AI at home, even if the school is not giving them an interface by giving them login IDs and all, but students are using it at home. And some of the AI tools, you don't need to have a login as well. And then there are concerns around companionship and mental health queries that they're asking AI. So academic integrity is definitely one thing that schools may struggle, but there's a huge different area of student interacting, which can put them into delusional state, which can put them into so many of in the negative part of the AI, of the internet, whether it's deep fake, frauds, bullying. So I think it's an area where parent training is also an integral part of how they are managing it, because even if we don't ask for it, it's going to come back to us as educators. And how much we try to say it's not our job, but it is, end of the day, becomes a job. So I think parent communication is an integral part. Okay.
I would say,
Actually,
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say that AI is new for everyone and need to be regulated. And you are saying that the students are able to log in into any AI program that doesn't require any information, how old is the student and everything. They need to know what is right, what is wrong about AI. AI is a great tool for planning, for completing projects earlier because they already complete all the section for the project earlier. So it's a good tool, but we need to know how it's going to benefit the students. And also teachers and I would say mainly teachers need to receive more training about AI and how to utilize it. Now, most of the product we're receiving right now comes with AI. And we need to know to show the students the best way to use it.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Adriana. And that's exactly one of the core focus. So I think teacher training becomes a very easy, clean step to go about it because there is no parent consent and, it can be done more throughout the year. So I think that becomes the first step because post that only you can come up with an AI policy for yourself, not only at the school level, but also at the classroom level, because you need to design your own classroom strategies around AI. Then only you can start to do AI literacy for students. It's going to be scaffolded in that fashion. And I think one of the key concerns that all the teachers were sharing about was academic integrity. How do they redesign their assignments, keeping in mind that students may or may not have AI? And people were like, I remember when I went to University of Illinois, my professors used to give us a lot of situational questions where there were a lot of variables at place. So even if you Google that answer, you cannot do it. You need to come up with your own original thoughts. Though that assignment is now not gonna be AI proof. If I put that assignment into an ChatGPT and ask it to humanize it, ask it to make it more as per my with some sudden mistakes, it can definitely go without detected AI through detectors, and that's why AI detectors doesn't work. So that's one of the key element that we also do is how do you think about your assignments in a different way. And I would want some in some comments from Shannon about this, and then I would love to show some of the strategies that we use in the classroom, which might be helpful for you guys as well.
We just asked the question at our January 5th meeting. So well, I asked the question and I teased it because I agree with it being transformational if we allow it to be. So teaching and learning, if AI is being used to cheat in your class, then we need to do something about lesson design. We need to talk about what it is that we are creating if AI can solve that problem in 5 minutes. And so when we were meeting, I said, I broached this subject and I just kind of paused and wanted to see the expressions. Because what comes to mind many times is, oh, now I've got to redesign my whole course curriculum. And the answer is no, that's not necessarily true. You might need to refine it. And theoretically, you should be refining and working on your curriculum all the time. We should always be revising curriculum and making it better. And so I just brought that up a couple of weeks ago because that was the next important piece when we talk about transforming teaching and learning with this opportunity. We have a great opportunity with AI to do this and really enhancing critical thinking that's happening in the classroom and allowing kids the opportunity to use AI in a way that's going to really help them grapple and make those arguments, do all of those critical thinking things that they're going to need to be able to do once they leave school. And so we're going to get more and more into that conversation. And I'm going to allow them the opportunity to process that because it's a big rock, right? We're talking about making a big move that is going to affect their practice. And so that's coming up here for us in a couple of weeks. And so I'm excited to see how we move in that journey.
That's amazing. How it
I'm
goes.
sorry if I can piggyback off Shannon. Shannon, I don't know. I think somebody said it at that conference last week. I was at that virtual conference too, but I heard it the first time at Raising Student Achievement last month. And the thing that I liked was AI is not the problem that people want to, it's just shed light on a education and a teaching and learning problem that has been there. And we already were doing like training teachers about assessments and getting on the same page about assessments. And so we've actually started to even roll in a little bit of the AI component of how it can help you change your assessments to make them more effective. And then obviously then we can continue that discussion next year when we have a more direct focus of AI, but tying it to how are you assessing student learning? And so, and so that's really the mind frame we've taken. And, you can tell it's like a gut punch to some teachers that like their dolphin lessons and whatever else they've been doing for years. But, I think a lot of the younger teachers seem to be on board with that. Like, okay, now, how can we make it then? How can I change my learning and my assessments? You don't have to change your whole lesson plans and what you're teaching kids. It's just how you're assessing their knowledge of what you teach them is really the major focus and change that needs to happen.
Definitely can't agree more. But I have a cool strategy. I think I would love to share my screen and show you to guys. So this we do with a lot of schools, and we tell the teachers that instead of asking students to write about, let's say, an essay on certain historic figure or about any strategy or about any policy, why don't we do one thing? We ask students to argue in a role-playing method with ChatGPT. And instead of submitting their essay, submit the transcripts to us, to the teachers, and you actually grade the transcripts based on how were the questions asked, what was the depth of the questions, how were they were following up with the questions. So I'll show you one quick example of what we do, and also what's the rubric look like. So let's say if you can see my screen, this was like a role-playing thing for high school students, where the prompt was that act as Alexander Hamilton, and you're stubborn and defensive about your financial plan. I will interview you, but do not break character. And the rules are that you have to keep your answers to 2 to 3 sentences. If my question is vague, challenge it, demand precision. If I point out a contradiction, respond directly and defend your position. And if you dodge, I'll push back. So you must respond. I can put that in the chat as well for you guys to try it out yourself too. But then there's a rubric to it. If you can see the rubric as well. Yeah. So you give this assignment to the students. So this is like a student hand copy. And you have to submit the full transcript and a reflection paragraph. You also share the students the grading rubric of how will you be scored on your question quality, on your follow-up and persistence, and everything. So we were I was just doing a simulation before it. So this is what I was asking it. So it says very well, I am Alexander Hamilton, and I will not apologize for building the financial architecture this republic requires. But before you begin, be specific. So it's ready to ask my questions. So I went on asking a few questions, like state your financial plan in one sentence. What problems are you solving? And it gave an answer. My financial plan binds the state into one nation by restoring public credit, funding our debts and everything. Then I asked a follow-up question, define public credit. Like I'm a farmer who does trust banks. Then it explained me what public credit looks like. I asked further that assuming state debts sounds like rewarding irresponsible states, why should Virginia pay for Massachusetts, for example? So you wanna see how the students are actually thoughtfully asking questions. And then it explains that because we fought one war as one cause, and the debts were incurred from a common independence, whether the legislature kept neat ledgers or not. So we are a union and we should be sharing that. So you keep on asking these questions, and you can just command P and just print out all your transcripts and submit it. So this can be a new way of how assignments can look like in the future. Similarly, for younger kids, I was just doing something else. This is what I had. So for the younger kids, let's say in a classroom setting, we don't give them an AI access, but rather let's say a teacher is using a chat GPT on his or her screen, and they are projecting their screen on the big screen, and all the students in the classrooms are looking at their chat conversations. So this can be funny as well. So my prompt this time was that project an AI persona called Bumble the robot, and who's confused about water cycle. And we as a class of students will give you inputs on how actually water cycle works, and you keep on stating foolish points, and we keep on correcting you. So, but don't break character. So this happened, and I explained, okay, so it asked me some questions that which part is the most wrong. So it gave few statements on water cycle. I said, actually, water evaporates from ocean due to sun, and it goes up and become clouds. It says no, error detected. I don't think so. And then it gives me another question, then I then give another answer. And students love it in the classroom, when teacher is showing it to them and they're like, oh my God, this AI is acting so foolish. They start thinking more explanations about the topic. In fact, some students drew it on a piece of paper and uploaded that picture and asked the teacher to upload that picture. Some of them are putting voice notes. So the mindset actually shifts when you start thinking of how AI can be so interesting. It can have such an interest mapping. You can ask AI to explain water cycle by giving an example of Minecraft, and it can work. So this is a very small example, but it works like wonder of how AI you can change your assignments in the AI world. So yeah, that's how it looks like. Any questions here, guys? Sorry
These
for going a little bit
questions,
quick. Yes.
the question that you have posted to what is the grade of the students? You're talking about students second grade, third grade, fourth grade, because they have to discern what need to get from this and what not.
Sorry, I didn't get your question properly.
Yes, when you say that kids in younger grades have to use the ChatGPT and they have these questions, they need to know what they're going to get from what GPT is going to offer them, what they can use and what they cannot use.
So in this particular case, when I was thinking about the younger age group kids, we are not giving them access. Rather, we are giving them a simulation in the classroom where an educator is using ChatGPT and showing the teachers how it works, or explaining a topic using ChatGPT.
But you want to get, if the teacher is using the ChatGPT and not the student, as you said, you need to know what part of the ChatGPT the teacher is going to use, then I want to make her work easier.
So it depends on different topics that the teacher is going to be teaching in the classroom, whether it is teaching them about particular topic, or they want to teach about the bias element of AI, or they want to talk about the hallucination aspect. So everything can be simulated, and in a way you don't want them. So just like you can take an example that if you want to teach students about financial literacy, you do not give them stock market access, or you do not give them a bank account, right? So if you want to tell them, but you still do that, we still teach them about financial literacy. So we can take that example and think of teaching AI, but not giving them ChatGPT access, but explaining the different facets of it by different examples and different role playing, where AI itself can do a lot of role play. Perfect. So I'm gonna just take I know we are running out of time, so I'm gonna take a quick closure, and of course we'll take a few questions. We'll be here for a while, but thank you, Shannon, for being so real with us, including what worked and what didn't. I would love to know if you want to summarize your entire AI strategy now going forward. What would it look like, and if any advice for other school leaders who are thinking about going about it.
Yeah, for us, the work's ongoing, as I mentioned at the beginning. So I expect this is going to be a winding road for the next couple of years as we look to implement things that we already know with things that are yet unknown. So being flexible as we continue to do the work and increasing our knowledge at the same time. But the most important piece of knowledge I would say for people that is to start doing the work, to start increasing your own knowledge and to start doing the work. And one of the things that I have done in my, like, I'm sitting down, like, all similar in some ways to Chris, and working with the cohort. We're working side by side. And by doing that, I am showing them that I value this work that we're doing. I'm sitting down right next to you, and we are rolling up our sleeves together to do this work because it is of that type of importance. So they understand and value that, and then our work continues to grow in that regard. But just sitting passively and being on the sideline, I would say this is not one of those things. That we cannot afford to have our heads in the sand on this issue because it's, like I said, it's going to be transformative, I think, to education and teaching and learning, and it's coming quickly, much quicker than I think we expect.
No, absolutely. I think there's a risk of doing nothing as well right now, and I think you cannot explain it better. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for showing up today. I would love to take few questions. Anybody would like to unmute themselves and ask questions? We're gonna be here for like 5-10 minutes to answer everything right now.
Hey, Avinash, are you? Well, okay, go ahead. I was just going to say, are you?
AI, we are in the onset of AI. It's going to be here. It's our future. And we have to regulate it because it's going to be very beneficial for everyone that is using it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm looking at some of your lessons. Are you guys using a RAG model there and then saving those as well? I mean, that's where the money's made for teachers in general is being able to script everything in the background, be able to script out as much bias. Again, I hate the idea of, well, it's prompt generation. Anybody can generate a prompt. What people can't do is generate context, and they can't generate the outputs that they're looking for. So I guess that was my question to you: are those things that you're saving through ChatGPT, or are you just sticking this in on the main screen?
So definitely there are two parts to it. If a school has a paid version of ChatGPT, they can definitely create their GPTs like a RAG agent, and it can definitely have the context and it keeps on going. But a lot of schools who are not having paid version of ChatGPT, we still have a lot of good ideas. You can always pin your chat and you always tell them to continue having this discussion about, let's say, lesson plan in the same chat. So I think in that way we tend to address both type of paid and non-paid users.
Well, don't forget, every school in the United States has access to it for free now. All they have to do is put in their ID, and it's free, so they have access to save.
Oh, I will definitely put that into my next discussion with schools. Thank you for sharing that. Perfect. Any other question, guys, about training, about how Shannon is looking at other problem statements?
We need to have more training. Teachers need to have more training in order to know how they're going to implement in the school. The more that we know is going to be better for the school, for the students, and for the future.
No, absolutely. I've just put out another quick poll. What is your focus area with respect to AI right now? Whether to train staff to increase their AI usage, to solve academic integrity issues. And I was talking about the most important one, or district communication, or student AI literacy, or if it's something else.
And just to say, Shannon, kudos to you for jumping out and running with it. And this is something it's coming, whether you like it or not. I work with businesses around the area. We're already seeing gaps between kids that are leaving college and the business and work industry. They come out of college and AI is already doing the things they've been trained to do. So, like that's happening right here in the Jackson metro area in Mississippi. So I'm sure that's happening in other places as well. So kudos for jumping in and leading the charge.
Hey, and right back at you. And so I appreciate, because in addition to sharing what I'm doing, I'm also listening to all of you guys and thinking, what can I do better? And so, no, I appreciate all your comments today, Chris. But yeah, getting rolling and understanding it doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to get started and and you're going to get better as you go along, just as we do with so many other things.
Absolutely. Any other question, guys? Also, one of the teachers are. No, absolutely. I agree with that on Daniel. So thank you so much, guys, for giving out time today. And I'll definitely share a recording of this with an optional Calendly link so that if anybody would like to have a quick consult about the district, we'll be happy to help. Thank you so much, Shannon, for your time, and hope that problem solves really quickly at your high school.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Have a good day, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
I'm still going to be here for another 10 minutes if anybody has to ask anything. Okay, we are all done. Thank you so much, Jitsa and Chelsea.
All right.
And Rohit also. But I think Shreya also joined. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think all went well. So I love they had some data also. Of that's good to know.
Yeah, just a second.
About what?
Just a second before you say anything.
Okay. You guys take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.